I'd like to know, first of all, do you support Mr. Trump as president during the campaign?
Vastly better than his alternative.
But is that an anti-Secretary Clinton view, or is that a pro-President Trump view?
I would say it's about a 50-50 expression of both.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
So you've called him a sign of rising white consciousness.
I think that his electoral success reflects to some unmeasurable degree a recognition among whites that they do have legitimate group interests. Donald Trump is not a racial nationalist. He is an American nationalist. He doesn't think in racial terms, so far as I can tell. But at least to make distinctions in terms of nation is the first step to making legitimate distinctions in terms of race. So that is why I support him.
What did you see him do or say during the campaign that said to you he was the candidate for you?
Oh, that's obvious. He promised to send home every single illegal immigrant. He talked about perhaps forbidding Muslims to come as immigrants, at least temporarily. He promised to build a wall so that no more illegal immigrants would come. All of those steps would slow down the dispossession of whites. They would slow down the process whereby whites would be reduced to a minority. And it is slowing down that process is one that I highly, highly support. Now, I don't think that he arrived at these policies because he thinks in terms of the racial demographic future of the United States. I think he is an American patriot, and I think he has a perfectly healthy notion that any sovereign nation must be able to control its borders. He wouldn't want anybody coming into the country illegally, certainly not committing crimes, certainly not going on welfare, wherever they're from, Mexico, Great Britain, India, he wouldn't care. But he has some notion that America is a distinct country with a distinct people, and their interests should be put first.
I'm not sure why you mentioned welfare, sir. You know that there are more white Americans on welfare in the country than any other racial group, right?
They're the majority. Look, don't you realize that the
whole
concept
I just like to
of
empirically, in the interest of objective truths, as you pointed out,
Central Americans are 3 to 4 times more likely to be on public assistance programs than white Americans.
There are still more white Americans on public assistance programs. They are the majority. Yes. They absolutely are the majority.
What matters is per capita participation in these things. If you have
percentage of populations is what you're arguing.
No, per capita participation. Okay, let's say Central Americans are 10% of the U.S. population, but they are still 3 to 4 times more likely than whites to be on public assistance programs. Numerically, that will be a smaller number, but it shows that they are not supporting themselves the way the majority should.
But many immigrant communities start out on public assistance and then move beyond it.
And
that is part of the process of being in America,
of
working towards the opportunity with the resources that you're granted.
The idea of coming to the United States and putting your foot in the public trough, sucking at the public teat, is outrageous to the vast majority of Americans. They do not want foreigners waltzing into their country and going on the public dole.